name is Sarah. Welcome to the channel. I'm so happy to have you here today, and welcome back to the kitchen. And today I am so excited. I'm making my very first ever recipe with my sourdough starter, and I'm making sourdough biscuits. I'm very excited to try this. I've been babying this starter for 3 weeks now, and I'm really excited to see how she does. So I found a recipe on Pinterest, and I will link it in the description. I'm going to follow it exactly, except for one thing. I am going to put lard in my pan and let it melt. I just can't see doing biscuits without that. So I'm going to do that. Everything else I'm following exactly by the recipe. And excuse my hair, it's supper time, and this is how I fixed it this morning. And I retouched it a little bit, but this is pretty much what it's like, what I look like at supper time. Alright, the oven is heating up at 400 with that baking pan with lard in it. And now we're going to get our flour. We need 2 cups of flour. And it says okay to use all purpose. So that's what I'm doing. Now obviously these biscuits are going to be flavored with sourdough, and the sourdough is going to be taking the place of some of the buttermilk, I believe. But it's not going to have all the benefits of like a fermented loaf, like a regular loaf, because the grains aren't going to have time to really be fermented with that sourdough. So it's not really going to help if you're gluten sensitive. This is not going to be a recipe that's going to help you in that instance. 1 tablespoon of baking powder. Half of a teaspoon of baking soda. It says 3/4 of a teaspoon of salt, but I'm putting a teaspoon in, so I guess I'm not doing everything exactly. But we like to be able to taste the salt in our bread, so I'm going to go ahead and put a teaspoon. Just going to mix all of this together. This is the part that that's making me, I always put lard in my biscuits. This recipe says to grate butter and use that. So I've got 1/2 cup of butter, which is 1 stick. I really want to use lard though, because that is my traditional way to do it. But I want to give this recipe a fair shot, so I better do it exactly like they say. And I said you just want to really toss and coat this butter with the flour. Now it's time to add my starter. Smells so good now. Let's see. I don't think you can see very good. She's nice and bubbly, super active. She raised the lid up. It was sticking about this high earlier, but she didn't quite overflow. So I'm going to stir her down. Oh yeah, and look at that. See how beautiful that is? You can see inside there. I'm going to do the buttermilk first. That way the buttermilk kind of coats my measuring cup and makes my starter come out easier. So we're just going to use 1/2 cup of buttermilk. My normal recipe uses 2 cups. And then we're going to use 1.5 cups of sourdough starter. There's the half cup. Makes 1 cup. 1 more of these. And now I'm going to very gently stir this together. I don't want to work it too much and disturb it. Just want to get it combined. Okay, I'm feeling like this is a little dry. So I'm going to add a little bit more buttermilk to it. I hope that's not the wrong thing to do because I've never done this before. Yes, this is looking more like biscuit dough than I need to.
Where are you at?
Okay, I've floured up my very super clean counter here. I'm going to just turn this out on it.
You didn't see that, did you?
I'm gonna bite you.
You better not bite me.
It smells really good. It smells like a mixture of my normal biscuits and a yeast roll. Hey, you guys.
Hey.
Which makes sense because my starter now smells just like fresh. It smells like fresh bread dough. It smells just like yeast.
Here I am, down on my knees again, surrendering.
That's what they look like. Hopefully they rise. They should, because the baking powder and baking soda with the acid of the buttermilk is what is going to make them rise. So hopefully they turn out good. I put them in the oven at 400 degrees and they said cook for about 20 to 25 minutes. So I set a timer for 20 to check on them and see how they look at that point, and then we'll go from there. Well, that recipe took most of my starter. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take care of her. I'm going to scrape everything down and then I'll feed her. I'm going to wipe the jar off first. I like to keep the outside rim. Sorry about the kids in the background, guys. It's not a House Full of Hortons video without sounding like a House Full of Hortons. So I like to keep the outside of the jar nice and clean to prevent mold. I'm terrified of that. I have not had any problems so far, but I try not to put anything inside, like paper towels, because paper towels can have germs and stuff on them. I don't want that in my starter, but I do try to keep the outside really clean. Now that I have her jar all clean, I'm going to scrape it down and I'll guesstimate about how much flour and water I need to add. Just going to scrape down the jar. I've been researching sourdough like crazy, and someone on one of the Facebook groups I'm a part of said this is how they maintain their starter always. They use what they want for the bread and just break it down and feed the scrapings, and then when they get ready to bake, they do a heavier feed to have more starter, and then just start with the scrapings again. So I'm not nervous, since I read that, about this causing her problems, but we'll see. I'm definitely not an expert. All this is brand new, so we will see together if you can actually do that. So you can't really see very good, but this band is about where the starter is. I'm gonna guesstimate that's about a quarter of a cup. So I'm gonna add a quarter of a cup of flour to this, and then a little bit less water than that, about 1/8 of a cup of water. And one thing I have found, a lot of people say they do a 1:1:1 ratio when they're feeding, so they want to have the same amount of water and flour as they have starter. When I did that, my starter did not rise. I have to add a little bit less than water, so about 1 part starter, 1 part flour, and about half that much of water is the way I found to get her to rise.
Hey.
And about 1/8 of a cup of water. Put my band right about there. Cover. And I'm planning on doing a lot of discard recipes tomorrow with y'all. So I will show you the update, what she looks like tomorrow. We'll see if everything's going good. Here we go. I let them get a little brown on the top. They're not as dark in real life as they look on camera. But there they are. I'm so excited. Thumbnail. It smells like a hot roll. Mm.
You drink?
That is so good.
Hey, where's my sample?
Mm.
Look what Mom's got.
That is delicious.
It really is like a buttermilk biscuit and a hot roll. Had a baby. And it's the best baby ever.
It's definitely 10 out of 10.
That's amazing.
Ugh.
What do you think, Rob?
Hey,
That was
thanks,
so
Mama.
good.
That's good. Mmm.
It tastes like Mama.
So we're having potato soup and our sourdough biscuits. What'd you say, Carson?
That's the best biscuit I've ever had.
Have you tried them yet, Cyrus?
Uh-huh.
What do you think?
Yeah.
The soup's hot. Lane, I gotta butter you a biscuit and let you try it. Oh, baby, the soup's hot. You gotta blow it. Are you okay?
Go get you some water.
That was excellent.
Thank you. That is all for today's video, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm very excited to try more sourdough recipes since that one was such a success. I appreciate y'all joining me in the kitchen, and I'll see y'all next time. Bye, y'all. Oh, yes. And please like and subscribe. Oh, and if you have any tips for sourdough or recipes, please leave them in the comments. I need all the help I can get, and I'm excited to start this new adventure, and any help that you guys have would be appreciated. Bye, y'all.